There are a lot of people are struggling right now with having tough conversations with their aging parents. It's hard when they're starting to lose their independence and we have to make decisions for them. In this video, we are going to share some tips on how you can get through these conversations compassionately and understandingly so that everyone involved feels as good as possible. Number 1. Prepare yourself emotionally and mentally for the conversation. It's important to think about what you want to say and how you're going to say it. Make sure that the conversation is focused on your parents' needs and how best to support them. Also, remember that they may be feeling scared or overwhelmed by the situation. Be patient with them and understand that this can be a difficult process. Parents might not agree with you and that's okay. Try to stay calm and don't be afraid to ask questions or talk through potential solutions. Number 2. If possible, talk to someone else about your feelings before having the conversation with your parents. Number 3. Understand what's causing the conflict. It's important to understand why the conversation has become difficult. Try to look at the situation from your parents' perspective and consider what they might be feeling or thinking. Also check, this might be the result of some of your actions or words. Acknowledge it and be honest about that. If the problem is a larger issue, it can help to enlist the assistance of a professional or family member to help facilitate the conversation. Number 4. Acknowledge your parents' feelings. It can be difficult to confront the reality of your parents aging, but it's important to remember that they are still people and deserve to be respected. Acknowledge their feelings and make sure they know you're listening. Try to stay positive and thank them for sharing their thoughts with you. At some time they might be depressed and you have to make sure that you are understanding and supportive. Number 5. Go into the conversation with a clear head and open mind. When communicating with elderly parents, it is important to do so with a clear head and an open mind. This helps to ensure that the discussion is productive and meaningful. Seeing our elderly parents progress through life's stages can become difficult as we maneuver our way through conversations that are sensitive in nature. Although their outlook might have changed over time, it does not mean that you should limit the possibility of understanding each other. Instead, view it as an opportunity for growth. Stay compassionate and patient. Go into the conversation with the intent to find mutual understanding and listen openly to their thoughts and feelings. Your elderly parents will eventually appreciate your effort to stay connected with them. Number 6. Don't take things personally. It's important to remember that when having a conversation with your parents, you have to separate their emotions from your own. Don't take things they say personally, instead try to understand where they're coming from. Remember they are getting older and their habits, way of thinking and outlooks can be quite different from yours. It's important to remain respectful and try to empathize with them. Number 7. Avoid arguing and blaming each other. When elderly parents and their adult children find themselves in disagreement, it can often be difficult to diffuse the tension. It's important for both parties to remember that each person brings their own perspective, informed by their life experiences. Instead of arguing and blaming each other, both should make an effort to try and see the other's point of view before reaching a conclusion. Open communication is key, allowing everyone to feel heard while being respectful of differing opinions. In this way, elderly parents and their adult children can come together with greater understanding and empathy. Number 8. Find a way to compromise. When elderly parents are living with their adult children, it can result in friction if there is a difference in opinions and expectations. Finding a way to compromise is essential in order to maintain a healthy relationship between all family members. However, this is easier said than done and requires a lot of effort to come up with viable solutions. It's important to be compassionate and understanding while trying to take into account each person's wants and needs when coming up with potential solutions. Working together as a unit, instead of two separate sides, can create more productive conversations and lead to successful compromises that benefit everyone involved. Number 9. End the conversation on a positive note, even if you don't agree with your parents. When elderly parents don't agree with us on something, it can be difficult to remain calm and respectful. Though we may feel defensive and want to react harshly, it is important to try and end the conversation on a positive note. We need to remember that elderly parents have had more life experience than us and may have different values. It doesn't mean they are wrong. A compassionate approach is more likely to be received positively by our elderly parents and help them understand where we're coming from in return. Ultimately, respect should not just be expected but offered when communicating with elderly parents, as this will go a long way towards a constructive conversation as opposed to an adversarial one. Number 10. Seek professional help if needed. Seeking support from an expert can be invaluable when navigating conversations with elderly parents. It's not always easy having a tough conversation, and having another voice of wisdom to help guide the discussion may give everyone involved the needed boost of confidence. Seeking out a professional specializing in elder care is a great first step that can provide helpful insight into what everyone is going through and strategies on how best to approach the conversation. Although it will take time and patience on everyone's part, taking that extra step to seek professional advice can make all the difference. Key takeaways from this video. When communicating with elderly parents, it is important to be patient and compassionate while attempting to understand their point of view. Respect should always be given, regardless of the situation or outcome. Try to remain open-minded and practice active listening in order to have a constructive conversation. Avoid arguing and blaming each other, and instead, look for a way to compromise. End the conversation on a positive note, even if you don't agree with your parents. Finally, if needed, seek professional help to better understand how to approach difficult conversations with elderly parents. By keeping these tips in mind when communicating with elderly loved ones, it can help create an environment of understanding. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like to feel more positiveness in your life.